Paula Fox was born in New York on April 22, 1923. Paula is best known for her children's books, which have won numerous awards including the prestigious Hans Christian Andersen Medal, the Newbery Medal, and an American Book Award. She is also the author of novels for adults and has been described by Nation's contributor Blair T. Bergman as one of our most intelligent and least appreciated contemporary novelists. Her father, Paul Harvey Fox, was a Hollywood screenwriter and novelist. Her mother, Elsie DeSola Fox, who had 3 abortions before she found out she was pregnant with Paula, didn't abort her only because she found out too late in the pregnancy. Her parents dropped her off at a family home in New York shortly after she was born. From there, she was passed from home to home, including a stay when she was 5 years old with Uncle Elwood Corning. Uncle Elwood, a congregational minister who taught her civility and kindness. The Reverend Corning taught her to read and to appreciate the works of authors like Rudyard Kipling, Eugene Field, Mark Twain, Washington Irving, and Walt Whitman. Her parents removed her from Uncle Elwood's home when she was 6, then bounced her among relatives, schools, and their own disordered care. Fox recalled that at her first meeting with her mother at age 5, I sensed that if she could have hidden the act, she would have killed me. Not long after, another visit with her parents ended when her mother threw a glass at her. This leads to her memoir book in 2001, Borrowed Findings. During the same visit, she was scratched by a cat and kept it a secret from her parents, leading to a role in her books, Desperate Characters and One-Eyed Cat. At the age of 8, she spent 2 years on a Cuban plantation with her Spanish grandmother and went to a one-room schoolhouse. It was the only time during her childhood where there was no libraries for her to take solace in. Eventually moving back to New York with her father, she had trouble getting along with him. With the difficulty living in New York, she packed her bags and moved out west with her stepmother. At the age of 16, she was on her own, working as a waitress, and was interested in writing poems. She married at a young age of 17 to Howard Bird and was divorced shortly after. Also around that age, she gave birth to her first child, Linda Carroll, who she gave up for adoption, not wanting the life that she had with her parents. Linda Carroll is the mother of musician Courtney Love, making Paula Fox the biological grandmother of Courtney. In her early 20s, she decided to stop writing poetry, and she took interest in writing novels. Fox returned to New York and remarried a man by the name of Richard Sider, having 2 boys together, Adam and Gabriel. 8 years later, the marriage ended, leaving her to make a living for herself. She applied and attended Columbia University for 3.5 years. However, because of financial difficulties, she was unable to complete her degree. After various jobs, she became a teacher of writing workshops and a professor of literature at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. Fox married an English professor, Martin Greenberg, and moved to Greece for 6 months with her husband. It was during her trip to Greece that Fox finally began to realize her dream of becoming a writer. Though she determined at age 7 that she wanted to be a writer, she didn't publish her first novel until she was 43. Paula Fox wrote her first novel in 1967. Poor George gives us George McLean, a restless, soft-spoken teacher at a private school in Manhattan. Depressed by his life of vague moral purpose, George discovered a local adolescent named Ernest breaking into his house. Rather than handing him over to the police, as his nagging wife insisted, George decided to tutor him instead. Her following adult fiction books were Desperate Characters in 1970, The Western Coast in 1972, The Widow's Children in 1976, A Servant's Tale in 1984, and The Gods of Nightmares in 1990. Her first children's fiction book was written in 1966 called Maurice's Room. Maurice's Room is about 8-year-old Maurice's struggle to protect his bedroom full of treasured junk from unsympathetic parents that undergo a transformation when the family moves to the country. She wrote How Many Miles to Babylon and A Likely Place in 1967. In 1969, she wrote Portraits of Ivan. Thus begins the compelling story of an unusual relationship between a sensitive young boy and an artist whose appearance in his life proves to be life-changing. In 1971, she was also a finalist for the National Book Award for Blowfish Lives in the Sea. She wrote Good Ethan in 1973. Her book The Slave Dancer won her the Newbery Medal in 1974 and the Hans Christian Andersen Medal in 1978. The Slave Dancer is about 13-year-old Jesse Boiler, who is earning pennies playing his fiddle on the dock of New Orleans. He then was kidnapped and thrown aboard a slave ship, where his job is to provide music while shackled slaves dance to keep their muscles strong and their bodies profitable. As the endless voyage continues, Jesse grows increasingly sickened by the greed, brutality, and inhumanity of the slave's trade. But nothing prepares him for the ultimate horror he will witness before his nightmare ends. Her book, A Place Apart, was selected as one of the New York Times Outstanding Books in 1980. 3 years later, it received the American Book Award. One-Eyed Cat was a Newbery Honored Book in 1984. She wrote Moonlight Man in 1986. In Monkey's Island, 1991, Clay Garrity, an 11-year-old boy, is left to fend for himself after his pregnant mother disappears. He meets 2 homeless men, Buddy and Clara, who become his new family on the street. They care for him as best as they can, but the cold and the lack of food are too much for Clay, and he has to be taken to a hospital. Now he has to depend on social services to find out what happens to his mother and his siblings. The book relates to Paula Fox, with the setting taking place where Paula was born, and with her parents leaving her at a young age. Monkey's Island would be a great tool for teachers to portray homelessness and or poverty to their students. It would force children to look at and understand the social problems that our society has. 1995, The Eagle Kite deals with a family relationship that has been pulled apart by secrets, mistrust, and anger. 10-year-old Liam was told by his mother that his father had AIDS, and it was due to a bad blood transfusion. Liam knew that his mother was lying, recalling the day that Liam saw his father embracing a man. Liam kept this secret, which was eating him alive, just like AIDS was eating at his father. The book is a nice revelation for any teenager dealing with relationship issues with their parents. In 1997, Radiance Descending, and in 1999, Amdat and His Brothers. Not too long ago, she wrote her memoirs, which were borrowed finally in 2001, and The Coldest Winter, a stringer in liberated Europe in 2005. Paula has slowed down on her writing due to one day walking through the streets of Jerusalem with her husband when Paula was attacked by a mugger. She was hurled to the ground and sustained injuries to her head. She said she hadn't been quite the same since then. It takes her very long to write, and her recall is no longer working as it once did. Fox's writing has earned her a place among Americans' most noted children's book authors. In her novels for young adults, she tackles issues of estrangement, death, age, and race. Her ability to address these topics honestly and bluntly make her style unique.